Hey guys, it's Luke here, and this is another edition of Luclear Fusion. So today's kit is the 2020 LEGO Star Wars Resistance A-Wing. Here it is. Now let's take a look at the box. On the screen behind me, you'll see that we have the nice 2020 box art, a picture of the ship, all the set information, and the two characters, Snap Wexley and Lieutenant Conics. Now on the back of the box, you can see that we have the ship with the cockpit open. We have Lieutenant Conics and Snap Wexley just hanging out by the ship. And you'll also see how it's going to look when you shoot those spring-loaded shooters. Now let's get into the build. Here we have the finished model, and overall, I think it looks pretty cool. I like the proportions, they definitely got those right, and it's got a surprising amount of heft to it. Now let's go into further detail and look at the stuff up close. Here we have the figures, and on the left we have Snap Wexley, and he has a very cool detailed print on his flight suit. And you can see that all the tubing and all the vest and everything is there, just like it is on the actual costume that the actor would wear in the movie. Now, you'll also notice on his helmet, he has that yellow visor. That is actually molded into the white plastic of the helmet, which I think it's really cool that LEGO can add that kind of detail into a figure. Now, there's no arm printing, but you'll notice that he has the small blaster pistol from LEGO, and he also has a very cool side print on the helmet. Around the back, you just have his flight vest, which still looks cool and really completes the figure. Now, on the right, we have Lieutenant Conics, and she has a generic female face and a very detailed jacket print, but nothing on the legs. And she does not have any arm printing, but she does have the larger blaster. And around the back you can get a better look at that hairpiece and just the back of a jacket as you would expect to be back there. Here we have the side of the ship. Now, down here you'll notice that we have the squadron markings. That is the only sticker on this side that is also on the other side. Now, you'll also notice that we have two more stickers, this one and this one. I think all of the stickers on this kit look very sharp, and that seems to be something that LEGO gets right. Also on this side, we have this gun. Now, I don't know if it's supposed to in the Star Wars universe, but on this model, it can swivel up and down, or even behind it if you want. And I think this is kind of a cool play feature that is the result of only being attached by one pin. Now, on the engines, the only thing I'm not really that happy about, it does this with both engines, is they kind of wiggle around aside from the ship, and you can also just kind of twist them around. And that's because it's also only attached by one pin. And that just makes it so it just kind of wobbles around, and I feel like they could have attached this better, but you can do that as a modification after you buy the set, if you buy the set. On the back as well, you'll also notice that we have this kind of oval piece, and that's actually made up over a lot of pieces, and I think this looks really cool. I'm not quite sure what this is supposed to be in the Star Wars universe. Nonetheless, I think this looks pretty cool, and LEGO did a good job detailing it. Now, on the other side of the engine, and also looking at the engine on the right side, you'll notice that they both have these yellow pieces, and this makes it look cool, kind of just representing the engine glow, or like the thrust of the engine, and it looks really cool. Also, on the other side, I really like how the shaping of the whole ship goes around, and it's just very floaty and bubbly and kind of looks really cool like the A-Wing does. At the front of the ship, you'll notice that we have these really cool sticker prints. Now, the ones here on these big white pieces are just to kind of complete the big green stripe on the whole ship. Now, the one here and here are just to provide detail, and the top one has the design of the whole ship. You'll also notice that we have these gold bar pieces, which I'm pretty sure are supposed to be the same color as this, even though they aren't, they're just two different colors because I don't know if they can get shiny stickers. You'll also notice that we have these vents, and below the vents are these two little black bumps. Now, if you push down these black bumps, you actually shoot a missile. And these are bound to get lost after you shoot them once or twice, but nonetheless, they're very fun to play with. Now, you can open the cockpit, which is followed by very cool pieces around it, which kind of form to it and make it look very complete. And when you open the cockpit, you'll find your figure in there. And if you remove your figure, you'll notice that we have just a little seat. There's no flight sticks, no consoles, just not really anything as far as that goes. Just kind of the basic cockpit. Now, if you go around the top, / back, you'll notice that we have these really cool white triangles that just really complete this whole look, and the green line around those white triangles just follows the whole cockpit line, and I think this looks really cool. Now, you'll also notice this hump behind the cockpit and this little kind of hoop that goes over the top. That's just the back of the cockpit piece. Now, I think this is so that you can get your fingernail up under there and open the cockpit this way, although I am still able to pinch it, and I think this is just to make it easier for younger children or maybe even adults. So if you flip the ship over, you'll notice that we have landing gear here, here, and here, which is kind of uncommon for LEGO spaceships for them to have all three landing gear, like, independent. And to put those up, you'll just flip those back and or forward, and that just kind of gives it that really cool A-wing sleek flight position. Now back to the back, you have this little black piece that just kind of ties these plates together and makes sure they're really nice and strong. And if you flip this front landing gear up, you might see this little yellow piece, which is part of the structure, but it shows through. And if you don't like the bright colors, this might get on your nerves, but I think it's okay because there's a lot of yellow on the other parts of the ship. You'll also notice that the whole bottom of the ship is very skeletal because of all the anti-studs, and I think this just kind of makes it look cool. And that said, let's go on to the overview. Overall, I think this is a really cool set. It's a really fun build, and I like the techniques in it. Now, I think it's a little more consistent with the $20 to $25 kits that we get from LEGO, but this one's going to set you back $30, and I think that's because of the Disney Star Wars licensing. However, nonetheless, it comes with two really good figures and a couple of pretty cool features, and be sure to smash that like button, be sure to click subscribe and hit the bell, and I'll be sure to see you next time on Luclear Fusion.